but also, you know, the middle-age class. You know, it's good for everybody.
You mentioned they're getting a great workout. Do you really get a great workout in this?
You really get an awesome workout, to be honest. You know, you're doing the actual things that basketball players do, track players, just all the workouts that you see me do on the internet or YouTube, whatever. It's actually in a video game, and you know, you're going to be in great shape.
And you recorded your parts for this a few weeks back, so you're fresh off of it. Talk a little bit about your excitement level of being associated with a project like this.
I was just excited to be a part of, you know, Adidas and, you know, my coach. I've always wanted to, you know, help people, you know, get in great shape, you know, and I pride myself on being in great shape. So, you know, just being a part of something big like this, you know, it means a lot to me, you know, for Adidas to come ask me to be on a video game. So, you know, I'm excited, and I can't wait for everybody to go get it.
So do you think this is targeting people who want to get into shape or people who want to maintain a good shape or both?
I think it's for everybody. You know, everybody, if you want to get in shape, you can use the game. If you're in shape, you want to get in better shape, you know, you can use the game. But also it has some of our tips that we use. We call it master skills, you know, what we use in actual games or workouts to get us over the hump. You know, we all have our little techniques that we use personally, and we put them in the game so that, you know, the average kid can use these tips to get to the next level.
All right, well, we appreciate your time, and I look forward to you being my master coach and Adidas my coach. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks very much, Daniel. I am here out on the news desk with Shane Satterfield, the editor-in-chief of Game Trailers. Great to see you, Shane. You were actually at some of the briefings this morning. And
barely made it here in time. But
well, thank you for coming back. It's a little more relaxed here than some of the crazy briefings. And Joel from Kotaku is with us again as we count down to Ubisoft. Now, Joel, you've got some breaking news on Kotaku right now about the Ubisoft briefing. One of the big games that they're about to announce you may have uncovered, right?
Yeah, it looks like there's a new Brothers in Arms. So, and you know about as much as I know about it right now. I do know that we had a little party last night, and one of the Gearbox guys was around, and he seemed like very full of himself, very confident. He's feeling good, so maybe that's a good sign. But yeah,
I think that's a good assumption that there'll be something there. I think there are some other surprises that Ubisoft has as well, so we'll just have to wait and see. Shane, when you look at Ubisoft as a company, they're known for really pushing game design in new directions. I mean, even this morning they had that Kinect thing for Ghost Recon. Which
bit of a surprise, I think, for us.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure. I don't really get it. I mean, I think it's cool, but is that something that's really going to make that game super competitive with everything else out there?
Well, the way I look at a lot of stuff like that is, would I rather do this, or would I rather press the B button or the circle button? Personally, I'd rather use buttons than have to wave my arms around to do very simple things like that. I think it got a good response from the crowd, which is really important at press events like this. But overall, I probably wouldn't be using it. I'd probably just use the D-pad and the buttons.
Yeah, and I mean, the good thing is, I guess they're not making you, shoot that way or play the game that way.
No, I would never play that way. No way. I was just talking about the menus and the guns.
You never know some of this Kinect stuff. Joel, what was your take on the Ghost Recon Kinect? I mean, that's a game that's been delayed a couple times, as sometimes happens with Ubisoft games.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a lot of the Kinect stuff was a little bit jammed in there in general. But as far as that interface goes, I thought it was fun. Like, I wouldn't mind playing around with it, and I like the idea of being able to say, give me the best gun for X or give me the best gun for Y. But yeah, it all feels a little glommed on at the end.
Now, the big game that everyone's waiting to see at the Ubisoft briefing is Assassin's Creed Revelations. I got to say, this franchise, when I first started playing it, first Assassins, I was a little disappointed in, and then 2 I thought was great, and then Brotherhood I was really, really impressed with, and they seem to be on a great streak with that franchise. Is it too many Assassins too soon, Shane, or do you think this one's going to hold up?
I would say that if the games weren't great and they didn't get better every single time. It's kind of funny. A lot of people wish that Assassin's Creed 2 was actually the first Assassin's Creed, but you kind of got to dip your toe in the waters first before you can dive in. So I think they got that game up and running with sort of the core gameplay design in it, and now they've kind of started refining it and adding sort of the little touches that really make it a great game. But I think this game in particular probably will end up being, at least story-wise, the most epic of all of them. They're going to start bringing in some of the alternate world, the Animus, and merging that with reality a little more. A lot of the characters from all the games are going to be in it. I'm not going to say how or why. But I think story-wise, this one's going to really bring things to a head.
Right, because you've got Altair in there, you've got Ezio, and then the modern-day stuff with Desmond. So, Joel, what's your take on Assassins? Are you bored by the series, or do you think?
I do. It's one of those things where it's getting a little bit better. I'm loving. To me, it's like the best architecture textbook that you could ever have. With laser popes in it. So I'm looking forward to playing a little bit more. I actually skipped the first one, which in a way makes it easier for me because I don't know half of the stuff that's going on, so I just kind of like carelessly play through it.
This might be fun because you'll go back to Altair a little bit. And actually, tomorrow on Spike, I think we can say now we're going to have a huge Assassin's Creed Revelations exclusive tomorrow morning on GameTrailers.com. After the Nintendo briefing, we've got an exclusive clip that I think is something that Assassin's fans are definitely going to want to see, especially after the demo that they're going to see in the Ubisoft briefing. So people will have to stick around for that. They've also got, I guess, multiplayer that's going to be a part of this again. And you know, after this, I think they've said this is the final sort of game that's going to be the story of Ezio. So after this, then we get to see an entirely new time period. I mean, this franchise is so well designed because you can go so many different time periods, you can cross them over.
And that multi in that last game was amazing. Like it didn't. I don't feel like a lot of people put a lot of time into it, but it was really fun.
Well, the Animus is kind of like the old TV trick where you can do all this zany stuff, and then at the end of the show, you can wake up and say it was a dream. Yeah. Well, the Animus is kind of that. It's like this thing you can always fall back on. You can have anything happen you want, but since it's an alternate reality, you can kind of fall back on the fact that it wasn't real. So, kind of a cheap plot device, but effective.
Yeah, no, Assassin's Creed Revelation, they will have a single-player demo in the Ubisoft briefing. You guys are not going to want to miss that live right here on Game Trailers. So what other games might be announced there? We know there's Beyond Good and Evil 2 that was teased a few years ago.
Probably a Raving Rabbids, actually.
There's probably a Rabbids. Will there be laser tag? Will there be...
games controlled by your mind?
Oh, there's the new Rayman that looks actually...
Rayman Origins.
Yeah.
Michelle Ancel will be here tomorrow to show us some
pretty.
exclusive new stuff on that.
Yeah, there's 4-player co-op. Play together.
Absolutely, and there are other big franchises that, there's Splinter Cell out there that Ubisoft hasn't talked about. There's Far Cry. I mean, there's a lot of other big franchises that they've had over the years. They're going to have Driver that they're going to be showing as well. So they've got a lot of games. I mean, that's the thing with Ubisoft. They've got a lot of games and are always pushing a new direction. So who knows what they're going to cook up. Like that laser tag last year, we probably would not have predicted that.
Please don't do it again.
You never know what they're going to have, right? All right, well, one guy who's always looking to see what's happening with Ubisoft is our video game financial analyst, Michael Pachter. Here are his predictions for ways Ubisoft can win their E3 briefing.
Okay, UbiBots, what do we need to see from Ubisoft to at least conclude that they succeeded? Number one, don't bore us. I do not want to have another James Cameron 26-minute moment. It's great to have a guy like that out there, but that killed the whole press conference 2 years ago. Do not suck up a whole bunch of time. They had laser tag last year. What a waste of our time. Don't bore us. Do not divert from the focus of E3, which is on games and gamers. Second, enough with dance games, okay? Just Dance 1, good for them. Just Dance 2, even better for them. If they show footage of Just Dance 3 and Michael Jackson resurrected, I am going to have to shoot myself. I can't take it anymore. No more dance games. 3, focus on the core. I want to know that Tom Clancy is alive and well. I want to know there's a Rainbow Six game coming. I want to know Ghost Recon is going to finally come out. I want to hear that Splinter Cell and those other two are on a regular schedule. Show me Driver. Show me more Assassin's Creed. Show me I Am Alive. Show me new IP. That's what Ubi is really good at. That's what you care about. That's what they have to focus on.
Well, Shane, Joel, what do you think on Pachter, what he has to say? Yes, James Cameron is a legendary moment with his 20-plus minute Avatar speech. From the heart, he was excited about it. Too bad the game didn't really turn out there. And, that's interesting. Like, John Riccitelli even said that in the EA press conference, that, we don't need card-out celebrities to talk about.
And they trotted out 3 NFL
athletes.
players.
Exactly. And, I mean, Microsoft, yes, they had Ice-T, but, I mean, it's not, there's not a ton of celebrity at E3. It's really all about the games. I mean, these press conferences are game demos, basically. I mean, it's the same as what we have here on stage.
I think it's the right call, honestly.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
People tune in to see the games. I mean, if we want to watch celebrities, we'll watch something else. We tune into E3 to see the games.
I'd like to hear more gameplay, and the EA conference wasn't a lot of gameplay, a lot of pre-rendered stuff. I'd like just a touch more of that. But yeah, it's really solid on games. Everybody has a good lineup. I mean, part of the thing that's fun about Ubi is always they will kind of. It's not.
You never know, right?
Yeah, it's like there's always going to be some unexpected thing. So new IP is always fun, and it'd be cool to see what they do with that.
Exactly, they're always unpredictable, and they've got a lot of things. There's got to be something in there that's going to turn our heads. Who knows what it's going to be? But of course, we've got Assassins in there. They've got Driver. They've got Rayman. They've got this new thing called Rocksmith, which is their attempt to sort of rebirth the music game genre with a real guitar. Shane's already laughing, but we'll see. We'll see how they demo that. I don't know if they're going to have a rock star on stage or they're just going to show it themselves. But of course, Assassins will be the big star of the show at the Ubisoft briefing at the Los Angeles Theater. And of course, we're going to be going over there in a little bit to see that. Also, Driver, they're going to be unveiling. That's a franchise which was interesting. Ubisoft picked that up. And we're going to have a demo with Martin Edmondson, the creative director of that, tomorrow. Franchise hasn't really done particularly well in the U.S., but Ubisoft thinks they can, big in Europe, so that Ubisoft thinks they can reinvent it. And actually, I got to play this a few weeks ago at a Judge event, and there's some really cool multiplayer modes. You're kind of jumping around between cars, chasing people. I don't know if you've got a chance to check that out. But
well, that's the core mechanic, right? Is that you can jump into any car at any time. And again, they have kind of a cheap plot device in there, and that your mind has been erased, or I don't know.
Whatever it takes.
They make it work somehow.
Game, right? Exactly. Yeah, so Driver will be there at the Ubi briefing as well. Another thing that we haven't talked about is Ubisoft has, a big focus now on the casual audiences, things like Just Dance, which, sells like crazy, even though we don't talk about it a lot on game trailers. That did well. They had the Michael Jackson experience for Kinect. And they've also actually been, pretty forward-thinking on Kinect with, what they did with the Yourself Fitness last year.
Sure, yeah.
And, the Michael Jackson game. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing for Kinect. And, of course, maybe for Nintendo's Project Cafe, although I'm sure a lot of the third parties today probably can't talk about Project Cafe until Nintendo makes their announcement tomorrow. Well,
I think Ubisoft has been the third-party publisher that's cashed in on motion gaming more than anyone.
Yep,
and in fact, at this point, they're probably making more money off motion gaming than Nintendo is. So they've been pretty forward-thinking in that. For me, this E3 was kind of a turning point. Where people want to go all in on motion gaming, or are they going to abandon it? I think Microsoft certainly laid its chips on the table. I mean, that whole press conference was connected motion gaming.
And you're right. It's a good point. It'll be interesting to compare and contrast. How much Microsoft, what the focus is they put on motion gaming versus Sony with the Move. And I think there are actually going to be a couple Move things announced. We're going to be showing some of them tomorrow, which I think people are going to be pretty intrigued by. But you're right. It's all cards on deck for Kinect.
And will we see motion gaming from Nintendo at all? The people who started it, it's funny, they've kind of stepped away from it and kind of letting the other guys come in now. Microsoft's press conference today reminded me of a Nintendo press conference from 4 or 5 years ago, where I walked out and I was like, where are the games for me?
Yeah, so well, Don Mattrick will be coming here after the Ubisoft press conference for an exclusive interview, and we're going to ask him questions. And if you guys have questions on Twitter, you can send them to us with the hashtag GTE3. It's been amazing today as we have demos live on the stage. We just look on Twitter, and the games we're showing are top 10 trending topics worldwide on Twitter. So thank you for those tweets. Send us your questions for Don Mattrick, and I'll get them right to the man in charge of Xbox. If you guys have complaints or questions, we're here to ask them.
Let her rip.
And speaking of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, the CEO, will be with us tomorrow as well to talk about their announcements. Joel, for you, when you look at Ubisoft, what's the one game you're most anticipating? Is it Assassins?
It's Assassins, yeah, I can't help it. And I'm pretty new to that franchise. I really only started blowing through it about last year, but I just, I love it. I love the environments. I love I could actually do with a little bit of the plot could go away from me. Maybe it's because I missed like the first few Laser Pope episodes, but like...
The story's been good, though. I mean,
it's good, yeah.
The cutscenes are well done. What about you, Shane? Assassins again?
Maybe Ghost Recon. We got to see some stuff of that game that we can't really talk about right here until after the press conference is over. There's some really cool stuff in there. I like military shooters in general. I like the demo for Battlefield that we just saw. But this is different. This is a third-person shooter. It's actually got a lean in it, which I love.
Yep.
They're bringing a lot. You would think, what gear is left for them to put in these games? But they've actually come up with some new gear. I think you saw that at the Judges event.
Well, people were wondering, because last year there was that weird sort of camo, which I think they've removed now, which sort of you can go invincible. So it'd be interesting to see, because this game sort of has to be reintroduced. I think it was shown at E3 last year and was never seen since then, which sometimes happens with Ubisoft games. It happened with the last Splinter Cell for a while.
I Am Alive. What happened to I Am Alive?
Maybe we'll get the answer. Maybe we'll get the answer, Shane. We're moments away. Justine, what are people saying on Twitter?
Well, Jeff, on Twitter we asked you guys what you were looking forward to for the Ubisoft press conference. So I've got some Facebook messages here. Ian C. on Facebook says, I need to see Assassin's Creed and Conviction 2. Like, I really need to see it. So if we don't show poor Ian C. on Facebook some Assassin's Creed or Conviction, I think somebody might need to go to his house to make sure he's okay. We've got Joseph P. says, Battlefield 3 wet my whistle, but the customization in Ghost Recon Future Soldier looks really good. And if you guys know, I'm a huge Call of Duty fan, but that Battlefield 3 looks amazing. Oh, and this is also probably one of my favorite comments on Facebook. Damien P. says, Jeff Keighley looks like the James Bond of video games. So, Damien, you're awesome. And let's see. We have also some more Twitter comments from Poppy561 says, I would love to see Beyond Good and Evil 2. That game just dropped off the face of the earth. Well, thank you guys for all of your tweets. Keep them coming, and I'll be reading them here. And let's head over to Jeff.
Thank you, Justine. All right, we're counting down to the Ubisoft press conference. Here are my top 3 things to look for at the press conference. First of all, Ubisoft has a strategy across 3 different dimensions: casual, high def, and online. So you're going to see high def games like Assassin's Creed, but then there's going to be casual stuff, I'm sure,